and welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to a brand new video, man. You read the title, Lust. Let's talk about lust. So let's talk about it. I have some notes with me here, and I want to talk about lust. As you guys saw in my recent video, it is going to be up here or here in one of these corners. I have made a video called You Must Confess, where I have made some confessions about my addiction and me relapsing. I wanted to make a video about lust, and before I get into it, I want to let you guys know that I am nowhere near perfect. I have no right to give you guys any advice because I am somebody who is battling lust. I battled it today, I battled it yesterday, and I've lost. I've been losing. So I am nobody, when it comes to giving you guys advice. I just want you guys to see my perspective and some stuff that I have accumulated from research. I have gathered some stuff from a good amount of research that I have done, and I want to share it with you guys. So, what is lust? Lust is something that we rely on when we want to run away from our own problems. I want you guys to do something with me. In this video, I want you guys to do two things. The first thing that I need you guys to do is get a piece of paper out and a pen. Get a piece of paper out and a pen. And I want you guys to write this down. What are you running away from? Question mark. And then I want you guys to honestly answer it. Lust is something that we rely on when we want to run away from our problems. I want you guys to pause the video right now, pause it, and write down, what are you escaping from? What are you running away from? And be extremely honest. Once you do that, I'm going to show you guys what I have written down. So please pause the video and please follow this step. So hopefully you guys did that. This is what I wrote down. I am escaping loneliness, heartbreak, having no females into my life, having no job, not having enough excitement in my life, boredom. Those are the things that I am escaping. You see, when we lust, and this goes for me and for you, when we lust, we aren't enjoying the lust itself. We don't like watching naked women on a screen. We don't like that in particular. We like the feeling and the dopamine and the satisfaction we get from not having to deal with these problems that we are constantly getting reminded of. I'm constantly getting reminded of how I don't have a girlfriend, I'm not even talking to any girl. I'm constantly getting reminded of that. And I know a lot of you guys can relate. My thoughts are nonstop letting me know, hey, by the way, when you check your phone for notifications, there's no girl that's going to text you. By the way, I'm just letting you know. I'm constantly getting these little reminders in my head popping up. And whenever I commit the act of lust and the sin, I don't have those reminders while I'm in the process of committing the sin. I don't have those reminders. And then when I finish those reminders, that's when the reminders remind the heaviest. That's when my brain starts letting me know that the heaviest, the most. I want to give you guys something to think about. Lust is a part of life. It never goes away. It is a low-hanging fruit. The devil is going to keep attacking these weak spots. After I get this point across, I want you guys to write one more thing down. This is the second part. But before that happens, I want to talk about this. Oftentimes, we look at lust as something that we need to overcome and something that we need to get freed from. Although that is true, and although we do need to get freed from lust, that is not the right mentality that we should have. What I have done when I look at so many professionals talk about this topic, when I look at pastors talk about this topic, when I look at how this old mentality has been going against me, I have learned that lust is not something that we overcome. Lust is not something that we get rid of. Lust is something that we become so immune to that when it's there, and it's always going to be there, and it keeps attacking us, we are so strong and disciplined that it doesn't bother us. The difference between us overcoming lust and us breaking free from lust and us being so immune and so strong and disciplined that lust doesn't affect us. The difference between those two mentalities is that the second mentality, we understand that lust is always going to be there. I went to Safeway recently and I saw this girl just walking around. She had yoga pants on, her belly button was out like this, and she was gorgeous. I saw this female, and I guarantee you 60 years from now, by God's plan, if I'm alive, 60 years from now, those same type of girls are going to be dressed like that, or something worse maybe. My point is, there's always going to be girls who tempt you, or lustful things that tempt you, or sexual things that tempt you in our everyday lives. Every single day, we cannot run away from these things, man. A lot of people think we can run away from lust. We cannot run away from lust, man. I can't run away from lust. We have to be so strong that when we do see those things, and we'll see them daily. And when we do feel those urges, and we'll feel them daily. We are so immune to them because of our strength and discipline that we have built, that it doesn't bother us and it doesn't affect us. Now, like I said before, there are two things that I want you guys to do throughout this video. Hopefully you guys did the first thing, and hopefully you guys still have this paper with you. And that is, what are you running from or escaping from? Now, I want you guys to pause the video one last time and write down the answer to this question. Who am I? Who am I? Answer as honestly as possible. If it takes you 30 minutes, it takes you 30 minutes. Pause this video, write down in your notes on your app or on a piece of paper preferably. Write down, who am I? Who am I? So pause the video and do that. As usual, I'm going to share what I have wrote. Who am I? So I wrote that I'm a motivated person who has a good heart, but I'm constantly battling my thoughts. I'm caring, but I try not to show it because I'm scared of people taking advantage. I love working out. I love listening to music. I love having fun in sports and with my, friends. And I'm a person who overthinks a lot, and someone who is scared of getting their heart broken again. It took me maybe 5 minutes to write this, and I tried to dig in as deep as possible to answer the question, who am I? So if you guys need a template, you guys can listen to what I wrote and write your own version of it. So with that being said, throughout my research, I have accumulated 6 things that I think help tremendously, and I hope they help me. I don't have any experience with them helping me, but there are things that I've seen commonly throughout my research, and that I think will really change what you guys feel about lust and how you guys are battling it, and hopefully for me too. So, number 1, you need anger. This behavior is pathetic, and you should be angry because of how much this thing is keeping you immature and holding you back. The reason why I wrote this is because I think that, and a lot of other experts think that it is tremendously important to be angry at yourself and at the things that you are doing. A lot of therapists say that you should accept who you are. You shouldn't be angry. You shouldn't hate yourself. I think the opposite for this. I think that you should hate yourself right now. You should hate what you are doing. From deep down, from inside your heart, man. From inside, you should hate what you are doing, man. You should completely feel disgusted and ashamed of what you are doing. And I feel disgusted and dirty and ashamed of what I am doing. I feel like God doesn't want to talk to me. And I think that instead of that keeping us down, we can use that to its advantage. We should be angry at ourselves. We should feel disgusted, because that is the first step to realizing and understanding how bad this habit of giving into lust is. Number 2, you should have a sense of perfection 24/7. You need to stay away from videos, live cams, and masturbation. And you have to stay vigilant. The reason why I wrote this for number 2 is purely because, like I said earlier, lust never goes away. Lust never goes away. You cannot overcome lust because it is always going to be there. Therefore, we need to understand that it is a battle 24/7, 365 days a year for 100 years. Lust is a battle, and we need to treat it like a battle. We need to treat it like a literal war, because it is. It is a 24/7 battle. Not one moment can you give in a little bit. Not one moment can you give some pleasure to yourself. Not one moment can you even give that idea some thought. You have to stay sharp, tight, and closed 24/7 against lust. 24/7. Number 3 is intensity. This goes hand in hand with number 2, but you have to be fully engaged with the fight. Every day, like I said, is a battle. Every single day is a battle, man. And I have to be fighting with the same intensity as the devil. This is a big point that I want to focus on. If you do not fight with the same intensity and the higher intensity than the devil is going to win every single time. And trust me, guys, I know he is fighting with the most intensity possible. He is fighting as hard as he can. If you don't fight as hard as you can with God, you will never beat him. You will never win that day. You will never win that hour, that minute, that second, that week, that year, that life that you want. Ever. If you guys do not take this seriously, you need to fight with the same power, with the same strength, with the same anger, with the same intensity as the devil. And trust me, he's fighting with a high intensity. Now, these 3 things that I have described focus more on the mentality that you guys should have and that I should have. I'm speaking to myself as well, like I said earlier. This is a video for me and for you guys. These 3 things that I wrote down should change the way that you think about lust. This should be the mentality aspect of it. Now, the next 3 things that I have written down are more about the specific actions that you guys can take and that I can take to hopefully, in God's plan, defeat lust day by day. Number 1 is, of course, accountability. You need to have this day by day, week by week. Talk to someone about it. At least talk with yourself. This goes very well with journaling and daily prayer. But having accountability is not only something that you need, but it is something that everybody needs, no matter what you guys are battling, especially with lust. In order to be accountable is to understand that this is happening because it is your fault. What I just did right now, what I just did when I gave into lust, that was my fault. That wasn't the girl who left me. That's not her fault. That's not God's fault. It is not the devil's fault. It is not your parents' fault for not checking in on you daily. It is not your job's fault for firing you. This stuff that you are doing to yourself, this self-pleasure and this coping mechanism you have developed, it is nobody's fault except yours. If you were stronger, if you were smarter, if you were closer to God, this would never happen. And I really want you guys to drive that into your brain, just like I'm trying to drive into mine. This is my fault. Everything that I'm doing right now with lust, all these urges that I'm giving into, I'm letting the devil, excuse my language, F me up. This is all my fault, man. This is all your fault. And you need to be accountable, and I need to be accountable for these terrible things that we are doing to our body, to our temple, to God. Number 2 is prayer and fasting. Every day needs to start with a prayer and end with a prayer. Fast, pray, read, and go to church. And you have to do these things other than going to church, since it's a Sunday thing here in the Catholic countries. You need to do these things every single day. each morning before you pick up your phone, and this goes for me, before I pick up my phone, before you pick up your phone, before you even have one thought of what is happening, you have to understand that you have to start with a prayer. Thank God that He gave you life. I thank God that I am breathing right now. I thank God that I have life, and as long as I am breathing, I have time to change this. Maybe I have a minute, maybe I have a year, maybe I have 50, but I have time regardless to change this. And as long as I have time, I'm going to do my best to change it. And that is the mentality that you need, and those are the actions that you need. Now, the last action is called penance. Penance. There are great consequences to this thing called lust. There are great consequences. Jesus talked about it. God talks about it. Even if you were not religious, there's many leaders who talk about it. It is a big, huge issue that is trying to be normalized in our everyday lives because the earth is Satan's playground, as they say in the Bible. One of the consequences, and the biggest consequence that people don't understand, and I don't understand, is that we will go to hell. We will go to hell if we do this. We will go to hell when we do this. We will go to hell if and when and or we give into these urges of lust, if we watch these naked girls on the screen, if we pleasure ourselves and masturbate and relapse and do all these things, we will go to hell. If I die right now, I'm probably going to go to hell because I have still not been fully cleaned from this sin of lust. It doesn't matter if Jesus died for our sins. It doesn't matter if you're a Muslim, if you're whatever. We are going to go to hell if we continually and consistently give into the urges that lust has. Another pretty big consequence is you will suffer spiritually, emotionally, and mentally every single time you do this. And we don't think about this while we're in the act of doing it, but holy damn. Holy damn, man, it hits. Post-nut clarity might be a joke, might be a little trend going on Instagram and everything, but man, when it hits hard. I feel extremely lonely after I did it. I felt so bad today. It's a bad feeling. It's not a nice feeling. So this is something that we need to understand. The consequences are very bad. To understand that these consequences are extremely great, that these consequences are so huge to our lives. Now, last but not least, I know that I have been talking for quite some time, but last but not least, I want to go over specific things that I can do, and I hope that you guys can make this list. This is the third thing that I would like for you guys to do. You don't have to. The other two things you had to do. This thing you don't have to do, but I would really recommend you guys do, because I think that this will help me out a lot as long as I stay disciplined and I follow this. I labeled this page, I don't know if you guys can see, I labeled this page, what can I do? And in this page, I have written some stuff that I specifically can do physically in order to reduce these urges. And I still haven't tested these things out, but I really do think that these will work. Now, first thing on the list is tomorrow at 6 a.m. So tomorrow is a Friday. Tomorrow at 6 a.m. I want to get up by 6 a.m. and I want to dress up and I want to run. Whether that's for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, a mile and a half, a mile, 2 miles. I want to run regardless. I want to run. Tomorrow at 6 a.m. I want to run. That is a specific thing that I wrote down for myself that I think will help. Just like this, I want you guys to write down, top of the page, what can I do? And under, write down some things that you think will really help you guys out when it comes to defeating lust every single day. Number 2 is pray at least 3 times a day. Of course, 2 times is very common in the morning and at night, but I wanted to pray one more time other than the morning and the night time, somewhere in the middle of the day, in order to remind myself that God is always there and God is always watching, at least 3 times a day, at least. So that doesn't mean every day is going to be 3 times. That means that sometimes it'll be 5, sometimes it'll be 7, 8, but the minimum is 3. Read the Bible, and then in parentheses I put 2 pages every night. Read the Bible every single night. I chose 2 pages for myself. You guys can do 1 page. You guys can do 5, 10, 15, 20, or you guys can do an hour, 2 hours. You understand. But I put read the Bible every single night. Then I put, and this is new, I'm Orthodox Eastern. So we don't really have a lot of Eastern Orthodox churches where I live right now in Bel Air, Maryland. But I have put to go to church. I have not done this yet, and I'm planning by this Sunday or soon, and I can make this video about it. I can make a little vlog that I'm planning to go to a church. I'm not Catholic at all. I don't really believe some things Catholics believe, and I don't support some of their, traditions. But I will go to church. I will go to a Catholic church because I believe that God will understand if I do. Even if I'm not Catholic, I'm going to go. So regardless, if you're Muslim, go to a mosque. If you're Jewish, whatever. But go to your religious place. For me, it is a church. So I wrote that down. I also wrote workout and box daily. This is very, self-explanatory, and I have already been working out and boxing pretty much daily. But I wrote that down in order to remind myself that this is essential, regardless if I have been doing it or not already. Next up, which goes very well in hand with the 3 things that I wrote for the mentality of lust earlier in the video. Journal about how you did at the end of the day, every single day, daily. So at the end of the day, tonight, I relapsed. Tonight, I'm going to write what I did, how I did it, what happened, my thought process, how do I feel about it. I'm going to write some things down. It doesn't have to be a page, a whole book. It can be some little bullet points. But I want to write down how I did today. What can I do to improve? And I'm going to consistently do that over time. Daily or nightly. And this last thing is kind of an idea. It's not a specific thing that you should do, but it is something that you should aim for. This is a goal that I think will help so much, and that I'm trying to achieve. Over time, grow a connection with God, family, and yourself. This is one of the biggest things that we can do when it comes to defeating anything. Yeah, you can have a friend. Yeah, you can have a best friend, whatever. You can have some people you high five, in the college campus, on the hallways, whatever. It doesn't matter, at work. But what about your brother? What about your mother, your father? What about your friend who's such a good friend that you don't even look at him as a friend? What about him? What about the brother in him? What about yourself? What about God? What about God? What about God, man? You guys need to understand, and I need to understand. I'm talking like I'm the leader. I need to understand having a relationship with God, with yourself, and with your family are one of the biggest things that are going to help me and you. And I fully believe this when it comes to defeating lust, greed, struggle, pain, and anything. These 3 things will help so much. So without further ado, guys, thank you guys so much for watching this video, man. I'm sorry if I went on a big rant. I know this video was a little longer than usual, and I just want to let you guys know that you are not in on this alone. I'm not in on this alone. I know people who watch my videos, and I hope that you guys, learned something today. I know I learned something today doing this research, and I just want to let you guys know that regardless of what happens, you will always be there for yourself, and that is a very powerful thing. Regardless of what happens, I have myself, and as long as I am strong and I trust in myself, everything will eventually work out just the way it is supposed to by God's plan. So without further ado, guys, please, if you guys haven't already, hit the subscribe button, man, so you guys can stay tuned on this journey that I have been documenting. My self-improvement journey, my working out, my boxing, my pull-ups, and my battle in lust. If you guys have any experiences, any questions, anything you guys want to say, please let me know in the comments below. I will respond to every single comment. 1,000 comments or 2 comments, I will respond to every comment. So let me know in the comments below what you guys think of this video. If you guys can add on anything to the list, let me know your list of who am I, what am I running from, and specific things you can do. Let me know what you guys made. And yeah, man, so without further ado, if you guys made it all the way to the end of the video, thank you guys so much. I love you guys, man, and I'll see you guys in my next one. God bless and peace.